United States and United Kingdom have launched their first strikes against Houthi-linked targets across Yemen. As per US President Joe Biden, the strikes are backed by Australia, Canada, Bahrain and the Netherlands. The strikes were carried out by aircraft, ship and submarines. The retaliation comes just days after the navies of the two countries thwarted the biggest Houthi attack in the Red Sea till date. The Houthis said that the raids struck targets in the capital city of Sana'a, along with the cities of Sada and Dhamar. The militant group termed the strike an American Zionist British aggression. In a dramatic conclusion to his civil fraud trial, Donald Trump accused the New York judge, Justice Arthur Engoron, of quote-unquote having its own agenda. The months-long case that could impact the former US president's business empire reached its climax as Trump clashed with the judge. At the last hearing in Manhattan, Trump denied any wrongdoing and repeated claims of political persecution. The trial, which will decide the penalties after finding Trump's company inflated his net worth, is running without a jury. A ruling is expected by January 31st. As a result of a sour standoff between the incoming centrist government and the outgoing conservative administration, Poland's president said on Thursday that he has begun the process of pardoning two politicians arrested earlier this week. The development came as massive protests broke out in Poland's capital city of Warsaw amid the change of power in the nation. Thousands protested in front of the Warsaw Parliament building with anti-government placards and Polish white and red flags. After at least 16 people were killed in rioting and violence in Papua New Guinea, workers and shop owners have now begun the long cleanup process. With dented walls and charred buildings, people are seen cleaning the remains of the violence from the streets. The unrest was sparked after police and other administrative servants went on a strike over a pay cut. The Prime Minister declared a 14-day emergency starting Thursday. Several officials have been suspended after the incident and over 1,000 soldiers have been put on standby. Peruvian President Dina Boluarte reaffirmed the safety of the country's border with neighboring Ecuador. He said that the border was secure as both countries weigh up deportations of inmates to fight crime. On Tuesday, Peruvian government alerted emergency along with northern borders and deployed police checkpoints and patrols along the region. The Ecuadorian president has said that his country will begin to deport foreign prisoners to avoid overcrowding of prisons. The initiative is also to reduce prison spending in the country. US President Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, pleaded not guilty in federal court to tax charges stemming from business dealings. Junior Biden stands criminally accused of failing to pay $1.4 million in taxes between the years 2016 and 2019, while spending millions of dollars on drugs, escorts, exotic cars, and other high-ticket items. The 53-year-old was arraigned on Thursday on 9 accounts of refusing to pay federal taxes. If convicted, he will face up to 17 years in prison. He is also under indictment on federal gun charges in Delaware that allege in 2018 he broke laws against drug users having guns. New York City is taking measures to temporarily house migrants. The city has moved nearly 2,000 migrants to a high school due to fears of an impending storm. But their decision has drew backlash from parents of school students. Amid the criticism, New York City Mayor Eric Adams has defended temporarily housing migrants in a Brooklyn high school. In an interview, Adams said that the city did the right thing by relocating the migrants. He further added that the city's schools have been used in emergency situations before as well, citing floods and fires. As the Israel-Hamas war continues to flare up, scores of injured Palestinians from Israeli strikes and bombardment poured in the Al-Aqsa hospital on Friday. With hospitals in the Gaza running out of supplies and the medics completely exhausted, the UN has prompted fear over the collapse of the Strip's health system. In the face of Israel's ground assault, many medics have had to flee to further north in Gaza, facing displacement from home and separation from families. Former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev has warned of a potential nuclear attack on Ukraine. In a stern warning issued, he stated that any Ukrainian attack on missile launch sites within Russia using weapons supplied by the United States can provoke such an attack. He has raised serious concerns about some Ukrainian military commanders contemplating these strikes on Russian sites. However, he refrained from naming the commanders or providing any extra detail about the alleged plan. Despite the gravity of this warning, there has been no immediate reaction from Ukraine. Just a day before Taiwan goes for presidential polls, China has called out Taiwan's presidential candidate as a severe danger who would threaten peace by following the evil path of independence. The frontrunner candidate, Vice President Lai Ching-te, has portrayed himself as a defender of Taiwan's democracy, but has drawn ire from China in the past over comments about independence. And China's Taiwan Affairs Office said in a statement that if Lai comes to power, he will further push for Taiwan's independence, separatist activists, and create turbulence in the Taiwan Strait. Denmark is all set to get its new queen. Australian-born Mary Donaldson will become Denmark's queen on Sunday when her husband, Crown Prince Frederik, ascends the throne. The 51-year-old Crown Princess Mary, who had married Crown Prince Frederik in 2004, has served in her royal capacity as patron to several organizations that support causes near and dear to her heart. These include sustainable fashion and the rights of women and children. The Crown Princess is the patron of the non-profit Global Fashion Agenda, whose CEO said that she has the full potential of a leader and is passionate about the subjects that she champions. Almost 20,000 protesters gathered on Bratislava's central square in Slovakia to protest against criminal code reforms. The reforms are planned by the new populist government of Roberto Fico. The reforms include easing the penalties for corruption and economic offences, as well as waiving whistleblowers' protection for police officers. As the United States braces for a strong storm over the weekend, strong waves flooded a deck on the Washington ferry near the Strait of Juan de Fuca. A fierce storm has set off power outages, floods, and grounded flights. More than 50 million people from eastern Ohio up through the mid-Atlantic and into the northeast were under high wind and flooding advisories. Temperatures are expected to reach new lows with an expected blizzard warning in effect from early Friday to Saturday morning. Snow fell on Vancouver on Thursday after extreme cold and bitter winds pushed in from the Arctic in Western Canada. Reports of spun-out vehicles and lengthy delays for commuters have surfaced within hours of the first flakes. The Met Office of the country has issued an extreme cold warning as temperatures plummeted to minus 40 degrees Celsius in some areas. The Canadian authorities have raised caution alarms for motorists as wind gusts of up to 60 kilometers per hour have been expected. Deep within Mexico City's vast underground metro system, a native coco-mixed tile was rescued from the attacks. Now, it is a nocturnal animal that has adapted well to the urban jungle of Mexico City. Security workers discovered the small mammal as it tried to evade workers seeking to rescue it. It was given a checkup for any injuries and then transferred to the Animal Monitoring Brigade for further care. Now, the mammal, whose name comes from the indigenous Nahuatl language, are a native species similar to the raccoon. With a maximum capacity of about 10,000 people, Royal Caribbean is getting ready to introduce Icon of the Seas, the newest and the largest cruise ship in the whole world. The ship contains 8 unique neighborhoods. Each of them is designed with a unique concept and a range of experiences for the passengers. One of the themes is Central Park, a green area with live plants and a number of eateries for the convenience of the patrons. The idea is to give the passengers on board the ship the impression that they are outside. The director of the Plaza Mexico Bull Ring has announced that bullfighting would return to the Mexican capital of Mexico City on January 28th. The announcement came following the Supreme Court's decision overturning the 2022 prohibition. The largest bull ring in the world, with a capacity of over 50,000, is located in Mexico City, which is a stronghold for bullfighting. Since June 2022, the custom has been in peril due to a judge's ruling to suspend bullfighting indefinitely. This decision was made in agreement with animal rights activists who had launched a lawsuit against the centuries-old ritual. A new archaeological museum showing an old marble map of Rome has been revealed. This marble map is also known as Forma Urbis, which means plan of the city. It has been recreated beneath a glass floor so that guests can see the ancient city. The new museum also has an indoor exhibition and a wide park overlooking the Colosseum. It contains various archaeological findings showing how ancient Romans, wealthy nobles and ordinary people buried their beloved ones, and also pieces of their religious temples. A thermal drone discovered a puppy entangled in a bush after it had been missing for 12 long days. Shortly before Christmas, the dog wandered off during a stroll in a UK county and it went missing. The dog's owner, who refused to give up the search for his dog, asked the non-profit organization Drone to Home for assistance in conducting the search. The dog was found healthy and safe. Japan's space agency has launched an H-2A rocket carrying an intelligence satellite on Friday. The rocket was launched from a Japan satellite launcher and the satellite can monitor North Korea's military movements as Pyongyang advances its missile technology. The rocket soared through the sky on a clear blue day after a successful liftoff. Now in some business and tech news, Tesla will suspend most car productions at its Gigafactory Berlin, Brandenburg for 2 weeks due to a component shortage caused by shifts in shipping routes prompted by the Red Sea crisis involving Iranian-backed Houthi militants. The conflict has led to longer shipping routes avoiding the Suez Canal, affecting global maritime traffic. Tesla is the first company to announce production interruptions due to this disruption, while other companies like Geely and IKEA have warned of delivery delays. The situation is linked to geopolitical events impacting transportation routes and adding complexity to supply chains. US consumer prices rose more than expected in December, primarily driven by increased costs in shelter and healthcare. The data suggests it might be too early for the Federal Reserve to consider interest rate cuts. Despite expectations for a rate cut in March, other indicators including unexpectedly falling unemployment benefit claims imply a relatively tight labor market. The rising inflation, particularly in housing costs, poses a challenge for President Joe Biden's re-election prospects, impacting public sentiment. While gas prices rebounded and food costs increased, inflation averaged 4.1% in 2023, that's last year. That was down from the peak of 9.1% in June of 2022. Just last year, Airbus achieved a record-breaking 2,094 net plane orders, surpassing its 2013 record and reflecting strong demand for fuel-efficient aircraft amid global passenger growth. Despite supply chain challenges, Airbus exceeded its delivery target, providing 735 jets to clients. The success was attributed to the popularity of the A320 family for short flights and the A350 for long-haul routes. Key contracts with airlines including Indigo, Air India and Turkish Airlines contributed to the milestone. Airbus's overall order backlog reached 8,598 aircraft. The company is developing a successor to the A320 and aims to launch a hydrogen-powered plane by the year 2035. The approval of US-listed Bitcoin exchange traded funds by US SEC led to $4.6 billion in trading, marking a significant moment for the crypto industry. 11 ETFs, including those from Grayscale, BlackRock and Fidelity, commenced trading, sparking fierce competition. Grayscale, BlackRock and Fidelity dominated trading volumes. Despite warnings about the high risk, the SEC's green light for these products lifted Bitcoin prices to their highest since December of 2021. Now, SEC Chair Gary Gensler emphasized that the approvals did not endorse Bitcoin, calling it a speculative, volatile asset. The ETF launches ignited investor interest and boosted crypto prices.